Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The moment his voice dropped, my stomach clenched. Why would you say that, Emma? Daniel's tone wasn't angry. It was cold, measured, and terrifyingly calm. We were at a small dinner party with friends. The air smelled of garlic butter and cheap wine. I just made a harmless joke, or at least I thought it was harmless. When Mark, my coworker, complimented my dress, I laughed and said, "Careful, Mark. Keep flirting like that and my husband will think you're after me." Everyone laughed. Everyone except Daniel. His eyes lingered on me a second too long, his lips curving just slightly before flattening again. The tension was almost invisible, but I felt it in my bones. I brushed it off. I told myself it was fine. But the drive home was silent. Not angry silent. Empty silent. When we got home I tried to joke again. "You're quiet. Did my joke really bug you that much?" He looked at me like I was a stranger. "It wasn't the joke," he said quietly. "It was how you said it." My heart dropped. What's that supposed to mean? You blushed. Laughed uneasy. I laugh at everything. You know that. I know what I saw. He walked past me into the kitchen, poured himself a drink, and stared out the window. His reflection in the glass looked carved out of ice. 4 days after, things changed in small ways. Subtle, almost invisible ways. He started coming home later. His phone, once tossed on the couch, now stayed glued to him. When I reached for his hand at night, sometimes he turned away just slightly. Not enough to be cruel, but enough for me to feel the gap widening. Guilt began whispering before I even had a reason to feel it. Then one Friday night he said he had to work late. I believed him. But something inside me twisted tight when I noticed he'd shaved that morning. Daniel never shaved on Fridays. I waited up, pretending to watch TV, my heart pounding every time headlights flashed outside. He came home close to midnight, smelling faintly of cologne and cigarette smoke. He didn't smoke. I didn't ask. Couldn't. Instead I said, "You look tired." He nodded. "Long day." Then he kissed my forehead like a friend and went to bed. The next morning I woke early. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. My chest ached as I stared at it, torn between trust and curiosity. I told myself I wouldn't look, but I did. The screen lit up with a message from Claire, office. "Last night was perfect. Can't stop thinking about you." My breath caught. My vision blurred. I read it again and again until the words lost meaning. My hands shook as I set the phone down. Heart pounding so hard it drowned out everything else. I could have screamed. I could have confronted him right then. But I didn't. I put the phone back and lay beside him, staring at the ceiling as he slept peacefully beside me. When he woke, I smiled like nothing was wrong. I made coffee. I laughed at his small talk. Inside I was breaking apart piece by piece. All day I rehearsed what to say, how to say it. But every version of confrontation ended in disaster. In him lying, in me crying, in our marriage collapsing. That night I went to the bathroom and locked the door. I looked in the mirror and whispered, "You can't ignore this." My reflection didn't blink. At dinner I tried to sound normal. "How's Claire?" He froze for a split second before answering. "Claire. She's fine, I guess." "Why?" I smiled tightly. "Just wondering." His eyes narrowed. "What's that supposed to mean? What does it mean to you?" He sighed. "Emma, don't start." "Start what?" I said, forcing a calm I didn't feel. "Asking about your coworker who texts you about perfect nights." The color drained from his face. "You went through my phone." "Don't twist this around," I said, my voice shaking. "You cheated, Daniel." "I didn't," he snapped. "You're making assumptions." "She said last night was perfect." He hesitated, eyes darting away. "We just had drinks." "I needed someone to talk to. Someone who isn't your wife." The silence between us was brutal. He finally said, "You embarrassed me in front of everyone. You flirted with Mark. You made me feel like a fool. Claire just listened." I stared at him, tears burning. So that's your excuse. He looked at me, and for a moment I saw something like regret, but it vanished. I didn't sleep with her. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But something in his eyes told me the truth was far uglier than his words. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat in the dark living room, staring at our wedding photo. His smile in that picture looked different. Sincere, warm, real. The man sleeping down the hall didn't feel like the same person. The next morning I packed a small bag. Just clothes, essentials, and my journal. When he came out, bleary-eyed and confused, he asked, "Where are you going?" "I don't know yet." He stepped closer. "Emma, please. Don't do this. Then tell me the truth. All of it." He opened his mouth, closed it, and then whispered, "It happened once." My heart shattered in silence. He reached for me, but I stepped back. "I just needed to feel wanted again," he said, his voice breaking. "After that night at dinner, I thought you didn't love me anymore." I looked at him through tears. "You destroyed us because of a joke." He fell to his knees, crying. I made a mistake. I almost pitied him. Almost. But I knew then what I had to do. I left without slamming the door. No yelling, no drama, just quiet heartbreak. 2 months passed before I saw him again. He showed up at the cafe where I worked, holding flowers and a letter. I didn't take either. "Please," he whispered. "Can we talk?" I met his eyes and said softly, "You already did, Daniel. You just didn't realize it." I walked away, the sound of the cafe doors closing behind me like an ending I'd been too afraid to write. That night, I sat by my window, the city lights blurring through tears. Sometimes I think back to that dinner party, that one stupid joke. If I could go back, would I take it back? Maybe. But deep down I know the truth. Daniel didn't break our marriage because of what I said. He broke it because he was waiting for a reason to justify what was already inside him. And once a crack forms in trust, no amount of apology can seal it shut.